Hi, everyone. It's Maria Fontana, your favorite business consultant, and you are listening to the Business Growth Made Easy podcast, the Salon Professionals podcast, where we speak of everything to help support, grow, and really align our beautiful salon industry. So today, look who I have, the amazing Kris Sorbie. I am more than honored. Hi, Kris. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. It's interesting for me to know exactly where you are, and I'm in Oxford in the UK. I'm in technology. It's just incredible, isn't it?
What a gift, right? What a gift. So many people are complaining about it, but let's be honest, it has changed how we can show up. It has changed, I think what I like the best is it has changed that we can reach people all over the world. Like, just think, we're on a podcast. You know, I'm sure some people might see this video on YouTube or on one of your amazing channels. And the truth is, how great is that we can share wisdom, knowledge, just support, some love, right, with our community.
Yeah, it really is. And like you say, I love the fact that we can go anywhere. I've been talking to people in Australia and goodness knows. In fact, I'm in the middle of writing my book. on my. Sorry.
Tell me about it. I'd love to hear.
Oh, okay. Well, this might just be a part of it. So I've been told many times when people hear about stuff that I've experienced in my life, and my life hasn't been easy, and it's not getting any easier, but it's normal. It's normal to me, and it's all I know. But people keep saying to me, "Oh, write a book, write a book." And I thought, God damn it, I'm going to write a book. So what I've been doing is speaking to my old school friends and friends that I've known for many, many years, some of them since I was, in fact, one of them is since birth.
Oh my
and
God.
it's it's crazy when you think that someone has known you for 67 years, and I never thought I'd reach to this age, and in actual fact, in December I was diagnosed with lung cancer. And that was I feel like a fake cancer patient, though, I have to admit. And I'll explain why, because I was having these kind of episodes where I just blacked out and would fall over, and I fell down the stairs backwards at home, and that was a year prior to last December. And I'd fractured 4 ribs, and 2 of them were not healing. They were kind of displaced and all of that. And I was in a lot of pain, so I kept going back to the doctor and complaining. And she said, I'm just going to send you to a cardiothoracic specialist, as it's the rib cage and so on. So off I went. He requested a CT scan. They did a CT scan. My husband and I went back to the hospital to have a consultation with him, which was a unique event in itself, because in December we were in lockdown in England and couldn't even go into a hospital really together. So it was kind of weird that we were allowed to. And we walked in thinking we were going to be discussing surgery on fractured ribs and putting metal plates around them. And instead, the surgeon who said, Kris, I'm so sorry, but you have stage 1 lung cancer. He said, the good news is that we can operate, we can remove part of your right lung, and it was in the bottom lobe. So I learned a lot about my own anatomy. That was cool. And so in January, I had the surgery. So that was today, it's my 11 weeks since I'm without that body part. And I'm back on the tennis court, back in the gym, lifting weights and trying to breathe in between. And it, to me, that's why I say I think I'm a fake cancer patient, because I didn't have to go through chemo, I didn't have to go through radiotherapy,
Right.
nothing other than the surgery and my own mindset. And now it's been proven to me more than ever, I think, about how dependent on how you can think about things is how you can help yourself heal. And I have a personal trainer, and he said, Kris, I'm pretty amazed at the age you are and the fact what you've just gone through 11 weeks ago, that you can lift weights like you're lifting them. So I'm like, yep. So, so I just got it now. I'm thinking, okay, another chapter in my book, and it's one where I can hopefully help people, because goodness knows I know the psychological effect of having that diagnosis.
Oh my
And
God.
at the time, we didn't know what cancer we were thinking about. So, of course, you put your life in order. I'm like, okay, I Googled cancer, 5 years left to live. What's Kris going to do? All right, we're going to travel. We're going to make films where we can help people and give people a voice, because my husband's a filmmaker. And let's take it from there. But I don't know. I might be around for a little longer now. I don't know.
Well, I am hopeful that you will be. And I think, it's amazing. I can understand your pain. I went through something similar, not as severe of what you did, but I had some lung problems. And I understand the intensity of what that means, because it is a game changer, especially coming from the industry we've been in. And it made me really question a lot of things, second guess my whole life. And it was a wake-up call. So as your mindset, it seems to me you do a lot of personal development work on yourself. You're very in tune with yourself. And I think this is so important that people in our industry, well, anyone, any industry, is what you think about. Your belief creates your reality. And if you believe that you're going to be okay, if you take that energy, and you're living proof of that. And I've met so many other people, and myself too, people like, well, how did you get through this, and this? Well, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to get through it and make the best of it. Right? So, it is so important. And how awesome the blessing in this is. Think of all the gifts you're giving yourself and the world from sharing your lessons. Because this is the important stuff, right, Kris? I mean, everyone's so consumed, I think, with money and success and all this BS now because of the digital world. But how about the real stuff? Let's go back to the real stuff. Let's go back to a conversation I always love having. I love sending a little note, old school, in the mail. How does that feel?
Maria, you did that to me, and I was blown away. And I was like, what a beautiful thing to do, because people don't do that anymore. And it is lovely to, at least we're keeping the male people in a job.
And there's something so magical about that I call it an old school connection. And I think it's so important to be like, guys, let's go back to basics in the appreciation of life. Let's go back to basics in gratitude. I mean, think about it. I've been in the industry 34 years. You're an icon. You've been in the industry a long time too. But really, we didn't build our careers based on social media. We didn't build our business on my Instagram feed. We built our business on connection. I mean, I feel very connected to you. And I don't really know you personally. Like, I can't wait to meet you someday and give you a hug. I know who you are because I've been following you my whole life. But again, how important is it to really go back? And that's what you're sharing. So, I'd love to know more about you. Like, what advice would you give people? Like, what do they need to be doing now instead of being in the pity party for themselves? Because I think a lot of people have fallen into that black hole of despair.
And totally understandably so.
Of course.
I just, my heart goes out. We're just coming out of the third lockdown here in the UK. So that means hair salons have been closed this year for 4 months. You know, that's a hell of a long time. And unfortunately, a lot of clients find alternative methods out of desperation, or they grow their color out because they're like, I can't be doing with, you know, trying to hide this gray hair anymore. It's way too long to hide. Let me just cut my hair off and grow it out. So, you know, our clients are taking a mind shift. So we have to take a mind shift in how we deal with that. So from the point of view of a self-pity party, I don't blame anyone for going in that direction. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't help ourselves. We really need to talk about how we're feeling. We need to speak about people that we know are empathetic towards us or can understand our industry. Because let's face it, I think, you know, I've been hairdressing 50, let me say, I started when I was 13, I'll be 68 in October. So that, do the math, I'm dyslexic with numbers, so I don't know, nor do I care. It's a long time, all that's all I know. So, you know, why was I even saying that? You see, maybe it's or something that's coming. Yeah. So yes, to reach out to someone that we know will be empathetic, and to someone that we know will completely understand our industry, how hard we work. Number one, how much we have to study to make ourselves better at what we do. People just think, oh, they just do hair.
Oh, I know.
Maybe we do, but it takes a long time to get to be good, to stay at being good, to stay motivated, to stay healthy enough to stand behind a chair all the hours that we do. And the amount of days. Exactly. And the physical strain. So to speak to somebody that is not involved in our world, it's hard for them to understand, because friends tend to think it's a hobby. That's why we'll do it for nothing on a Sunday afternoon, and cut their hair, which again, it's all well and good. But, you know, if my friend was a cardiothoracic surgeon, I would say, by the way, can you cut a piece of my lung off on Sunday afternoon and don't charge me?
Can you give me a root canal? I always say this, I'm like, can you come and do a root canal for me in the backyard after the barbecue? So in my community, Business Growth Made Easy, it's an incubator. It's a free group that I invite all salon professionals in, and that's what we do. We have Q&As. It's just a community, a safe incubator for us to talk and share with each other. Yes, there can be griping, but we're always looking for solutions, for support, because you're right, Kris. No one understands us the way we understand each other. We are I think we're an amazing breed. Yeah. There's no other industry like ours, and it is forgotten quite a bit, sadly. You know,
except in lockdown, everyone was like, oh, I need to see my hairdresser. Again, you know, it's all about me. And it's just not fair that then we're kind of, sometimes I felt disrespected.
Me too.
Or, you know, that I remember having a boyfriend who was a doctor a long time ago, and if we went to parties and mixed with people, and mainly his friends who were all medics, I used to say to him, you know, John, I feel so inferior to all your friends. And he'd be like, why? And it's because I'm not academic. I didn't feel intelligent enough. I didn't feel interesting enough. And he said, but Kris, you know a little bit about everything. And all we know is medicine. Right. So, you know, don't put yourself down like that. But again, easier said than done. You know, how many people say to us, oh, you're brilliant. Oh, what an incredible idea. Oh, you could make a business out of that. Or we don't hear that very often. No. We're like, oh, thanks, it looks great. And here's a tip. And So I think it does take, like you say, a very special breed of person to be a hairdresser,
It does.
to give as much as we give of ourselves and more, because I do think a lot of us give way more than what we're charging for,
Oh yeah.
because we are psychoanalysts, we are psychotherapists, we are
We're
um
everything. We're everything.
oh,
I
yeah,
diagnose people. I mean, I've diagnosed thyroid. I've diagnosed, I mean, like, people are like, I should just ask you. And Kris, you just, I'm very open and I'm not afraid to share my truth. And I become very vulnerable because I think that's what we need to be real. The way you were just real. I suffered, and I'm sharing this publicly the first time with you here. I suffered my whole life feeling not good enough because this sounds crazy, but it's like a mom issue. My mother never approved of my choice. I was academically good in high school, but I had this passion. I'm an entrepreneur. I became a hairdresser, but my mother, first generation Italian, she literally thought it was the worst thing in the world. I mean, she was like, how, you're just a hairdresser. Until today, I'm 50 something years old, 52, I'll be 53. I had to do a lot of personal development work to process that because I was always chasing the next thing. I've been, owned 10 salons. I was making six figures at 19 years old. It was never enough because it was that mindset. So I guess why I'm sharing this, because you shared, that whole thing. The bottom line is this. I think us as these amazing creative visionaries, because that's what we are. We're creative visionaries and we are amazing business people and we all have gifts. But I think we ourselves have to level up, because one day after many years of therapy, I said, you know what? I am enough. I make more money than that doctor down the street. I have more pleasure than that. I have a home. And I started to look at what I was differently. And then I became a member of the state board because I wanted to see what went on behind the scenes. I'm like, you know what? I don't care if I'm too young. I want to be there. I want to see what's going on.
yeah.
So what I'm sharing with you is this, that it's our own ownership. And if we can share and support this, or we can up level this, where I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, I'm just a hairdresser. Oh, I just own a salon. Mm-hmm. Listen, it's how you stand. I'm a specialist. I'm like your heart surgeon. You come to me, I take great care of you. And when I shifted that whole mentality, then I started to share my consulting, my coaching. I thought, you know what? I've got so much to give, just like you. And isn't that powerful? Isn't that powerful?
Yeah. Yes. I think the very first time that I ever, I used to work for Redken. I was one of their global artistic directors, and very proud to have held that position for 20 years, and be a woman at the same time.
And that's huge.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I so wanted to be like Sam Veer, or I so wanted to be like Chris Barron. Thankfully, I didn't look like them at all, but I just wanted to be as effective on stage, as powerful in changing people's lives for the better as they were. And they used to coach me, and then I'd go home and cry for a while because I didn't feel it. I didn't have the confidence in myself to be that platform artist, to be that leader. It took a long time to get the confidence in myself, to start believing in myself. But I do remember the very first time I went on stage. I don't remember where it was or what year it was, but it was a long time ago. And I was on stage with Chris Barron, and I thought, today I'm just going to be myself. I don't care if I get fired, if I say the wrong thing, whatever it might be. I'm just going to be me. And that was my turning point, was that I saw the effect and the response from an audience when I was more authentic, when I became genuinely me, who I am in my heart, and I was born to help other people. And it was But it's true. My mum used to say that. She said when I was even a little girl, I was always off helping somebody. And in those days, kids could roam the streets even at 3 years of age, and
Yeah,
someone would bring
here.
you home. Yeah, and that was in the middle of London. So the point I'm trying to make here, and I'm taking a long time getting there, is that it's a different level of confidence from what it was doing somebody's hair, because doing somebody's hair was a learned skill
Yeah,
with a certain amount of inborn artistry and an eye and a talent and a personality that your clients loved you, because
yeah,
our clients love us, no shadow of a doubt,
yeah,
wherever we are and whatever level we're at.
yeah,
And but then when it comes to being put into a position of leadership or taking that role on as an individual, that's a whole nother ball game. We have to earn the right to be there. That takes time, and it is learned as a skill in a certain way. But what we do have to do is be ourselves as much as we possibly can, and that I don't think that is learned. People either like you or they don't like you, or they believe you in you or they don't believe in you. I mean, I've seen Samvir stand on a stage and speak with an audience, and you can see how that audience is holding onto his every single word.
right.
Chris Barron the same, in a completely different way, but as effectively, because let's face it, everything that we have to give, but then we're all individuals, and there are so many.
You too.
Sorry?
You have that impact. I said, you too. Don't leave yourself out of that. Your impact, I've seen you in action. Your impact, because you're you, is stellar. It's passionate. You know, you have an amazing energy. So the way Chris and the way Sam show up, I always felt that from you too. See, but I think I love that you show up as yourself. And I know everyone else loves that too. And I think that's your magic.
Well, yeah, but you try telling yourself that before you walk on stage, you know. Although, you know, you're like that too. You're charismatic, and but you know, if there's anyone that's out there that's listening to this that is thinking about going into the world of education, which is an incredible place to be, just be aware of what it takes to get there, and that it's not just a label that actually puts you there or makes you effective while you're there, because sometimes it's easier to get to the top than it is to stay there. And that's, I think, sometimes, you know, some people do it better than others.
Right.
And doing the Iconics interviews that I do, I've learned from so many icons around the world of how difficult it was for them, or whose footsteps were they walking in. And you know, it's life is not easy, but boy, we can have a lot of fun in it.
Yes.
And that's what a hairdressing brings. Like you were saying, you know, you were having way more fun than that doctor that lives down the street, and you were earning more. And so but it's not always about the money.
Right.
And I know we have to earn money. I know, you know, especially today, we're all way behind in what our worth should be, having had a year of this crazy epidemic. Pandemic. And, you know, how are we ever going to recover? However, I think it's a time that we can take that opportunity to reinvent ourselves, perhaps in a different way, because what we've learned during that time, we had a lot of time on our hands. I know a lot of people were watching video after video after video, sitting there with their mannequin heads. And because I know I sell mannequin heads, so I know how the sales were going up, because people wanted a medium to learn on. And for those people that took that time to better themselves, good on them. They deserve now to open their doors again and charge way more
Yeah.
because they weren't sitting around being furloughed or twiddling their thumbs.
Right.
Or,
Right.
just eating too much and watching too many Netflix things.
Well, I know. I agree with you, because I was saying to someone the other day, I said, listen, you're complaining, but you've been working from home on your computer getting paid. We had to stop. Do you like, I don't think, because I'll be honest with you, in accordance to what you just said, I almost doubled my prices. I have an organic hair salon in New Jersey. I specialize, it's a private suite style. Like, I recreated, I'm like, what do I want now? What works for me now? And guess what? I'd rather work on quality over quantity. And the people who really love me, we teach people how to treat us. And if you don't create that element for yourself, right, Kris? If you say, well, I'm afraid to charge that, well, then you really don't believe you're worth that. This is just my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just what I believe. But we have that choice to change our destinies.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there was a saying, work smarter instead of harder. And that does mean raise your prices. But you really do have to believe it in your heart that you are worth that much more because of the effort that you put into it. I was doing a haircut yesterday on a guy here who he's actually one of my husband's students, severely autistic, 28 years of age, a man, challenging, as you can imagine, to converse with, and to cut his hair was like trying to cut hair on a moving target. And it was hard to get him to understand that what he was asking for wasn't going to happen because I'm not a magician. And he has lost some hair through age and how some guys do, or some women do as well. And he was like, well, why can't you just rearrange what I've got? And he had really long hair. And I said, well, it doesn't quite work like that unless we glue it, get some Gorilla Glue and glue it to your scalp. So it was just, I had a blast just hanging out with him, and having this conversation. And his mum was with him, and she said, I have never seen him sit so still through a haircut. I was like, okay, job done. Yeah. Job done, and I cut off 2 hairs, and this is it. It's having, and I think having the time to deal with individuals who are sometimes a little different from ourselves. That is a whole nother skill that, yes, you need to charge for it the same, but you do have to spend the time. And that's where life's experience, as well as our hairdressing experience, comes into play, of how we can relate to someone who doesn't think in a similar way to how we do.
Right.
And I love delving into those minds of how people think differently, or taking the time to really listen. I think that's the biggest skill of being a hairdresser, is to develop our listening skills, because we can learn so much. And when you think about every half an hour to 45 minutes or an hour, whatever it might be, you have someone different sitting in your chair that you can learn from.
Yes.
How cool is that? I mean, our school comes to us and sits in our chair, and we then charge them. It's crazy, but it is a lovely opportunity to learn about other people and things that they do, and just learning about life.
Yeah, I think
you got me on a roll there, Marie.
Yeah, it's really about, and again, you're on my page. It's about your mindset and your energy and how you show up. You can show up in a bad mood and look at your day as being a negative thing, or you can look at it the way you just said, or I always feel like there's an opportunity. Every person that works through that door for me is a new opportunity. It might be a new connection. You really have to look at it in a way that aligns with you. And I think if we're aligned, what walks through that door is going to be aligned. And again, I'm a big proponent of that. If you're miserable and you're staying stuck, get help, get support, release that. Don't hold on to it, because the clients unfortunately are going to feel it. And I think they leave sometimes because, you know, who wants to feel down when you're going to get your hair done, or they're coming looking to me to feel better. Sometimes they don't even know what I did to them. It's just about that connection, right? You know as well as I do.
Yeah, it's that chemistry, and it's that chemistry on the day. And you know, this is something else that I'm kind of developing because I'm here in England. So I hadn't lived here for 20 years. So yeah, I still had close friends, but not enough to have a clientele, or to, you know, be doing enough to earn enough money in that respect. So what I do now is I reach out more in mentoring. And, you know, when you think about mentoring someone, you're taking on a massive responsibility for their lives and for their careers. And sometimes when people think, I need help, but they don't quite know, you know, maybe they don't need regular therapy, because what does a therapist understand about our industry anyway? Right. But it's again, it's reaching out to people who do understand, who do get it. And that's what I'm doing more of now. And it's very rewarding to do that. And obviously to be paid for it. Yes. But it's like conveying my life's experiences of life, of Hard Knocks University, and of being a hairdresser, and to roll all of those in one. It's a fascinating position to be in, where I can, you know, be there for other people and help them. And again, interestingly enough, having lived in the States for 20 years, I have adopted a lot of ways that are American ways, which are incredible, because I do think that in America, we're way more open to sharing our thoughts, sharing our ideas, sharing our disappointments, our grievances, and so on, than they are in England. In England, I think people are still way more reserved and don't want to admit that things aren't going too well.
Right.
You know, whereas I think in the States we are more open and ready to adopt a new idea. I think maybe putting it that way.
And I think it's so healing to speak your truth, to show vulnerability. And again, I feel both of you and I have done that today. And hopefully that'll give someone hope, or open up their heart and say, you know what, hey, you know, let's be real, guys. We're all human. We all have lives. We all got crap that goes wrong in our lives. We've all got dysfunction, family stuff. I mean, the list goes on and on. We're all humans. So how amazing is it that Kris Sorbie is here to support you. I'm here to support you. And I'm sure there's thousands of other like-minded, beautiful beauty professionals. If you need support, don't be afraid. I think what you're saying, Kris, don't be afraid to share your truth. And if you surround yourself with like-minded, good, positive, loving people, you're going to get good feedback. Those people who maybe are not good, you know, compassionate, loving, and maybe if they're toxic, then maybe you need to like clip them out of your life for a while, because this is it. We're only here once, and I think we all have to make the very best of it.
Yeah, I say or someone once said, life's not a rehearsal. And isn't that the truth? And, you know, we never know how long it's going to be and how much time we have left playing on this world. So let's make every day a great one. Whether we're being isolated from our friends for whatever reason, how can we still make it cool? Like you said, you know, you wrote me the most beautiful card, and I just think that is so special. And sometimes we don't realize that if we do that for others, how it just makes their day. Yeah. So it's fun. I had an interesting, talking about making someone's day. I went to the grocery store the other day, and there was a young guy behind the cash register. He's got his mask on, and he was singing. And I thought, how cool is this? So I said, oh, you've got a lovely voice. I said, did you write that song as well? He said, yeah, I did. Do you want to hear another one that I wrote? I said, I
Oh,
do. Yeah. And then I was like, hey, you're going to go on Britain's Got Talent really soon. He said, that's my goal. I was like, keep on singing, because you don't know who is buying their groceries and checking out at your cash register. It was lovely. And that's something else, just because we're wearing a mask, which does make communication not just verbal, but physical communication. Children look at you, they don't know whether you're a nice person or not, because they can't see your mouth, they can just about see your eyes. So we have to again start learning how we can adapt our behavior and our body language into a way that isn't intimidating to others, and to actually, again, I think, reach beyond where we normally would have gone. I talk to everyone, but I know not everyone wants to talk to me. So.
I do too. I'm guilty of that.
I just love walking down the street and making a comment to someone who's walking in the opposite direction. Because, I don't know, it's just, sometimes I amuse myself doing that.
Are you a Gemini?
No, I'm Scorpio. So
but you're using that beautiful energy. I think that's a gift. And I think, more and more, it's just bringing that energy, guys. We're all energy, right, Kris? And I always say to people, even if you have a mask on, like, you could see it in my eyes. Your eyes speak to people. Your body movements, like, you can tell if someone's bringing good stuff to you or they're not. So bring more of the good stuff, because there's enough of the bad stuff. So just bring the good stuff, folks. Come on.
Please, in abundance.
Well, Kris, you're amazing. I think you're an amazing person. I think you're an amazing educator. And most of all, you have such a big, beautiful heart, and you're impacting so many. I cannot wait. As soon as that book is published, you better let me know so we can share the heck out of it, and I can buy my first copy.
I'll send you a copy, but I don't know how many years it's going to be in the making.
Oh, you know what? If you want it, you will create it. It'll happen. It'll just happen. Divine timing is amazing. So is there anything you'd like to just add in our closing statements? Anything something someone could take away, just tuck away in their heart and hold on to in our beautiful salon industry?
Yes, I think, realize that you are loved by your clients. They may not always know how to show that. Which that's challenging, and also we never know what's going on in somebody else's life. So if we have days that are not as wonderful as it was the day before, don't let that get to you. Just keep believing in yourself. Keep trying to be a better person today than you were yesterday, and life will be amazing, and it will be rewarding. And just open your heart up. And if you need help, reach out to you, Maria, to reach out to me. Don't think that you stand alone in this world. You don't have to.
Right.
So
I think that's amazing. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me, because I know your time is precious. I want to thank you for sharing your beautiful light and energy. I am grateful to call you friend.
Absolutely, ditto. And thank you for inviting me. I really am honored to be here and to be a part of your program. It's beautiful what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, Kris. I love you. Well, thank you so much. Guys, I'm going to drop all Kris's contact information in the description below or in the show notes. If you want to reach out to her, connect with her, all her contact info will be there. So here's sending you big hugs and kisses and love and light. Love you, Kris. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to all your listeners and our wonderful industry. Yes. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.